You ever felt stuck and felt the weight of the world on your shoulders? No matter what you're trying to do, like something is holding you back. Fears, anxieties, these hidden mental barriers. Well, you're not alone. Many of us have stood there completely stuck, even when we know what we need to, even when we know we're at the edge of our dreams. But imagine for a moment that instead of reacting, you have the power to respond. No matter what's happening around you, you get the power to take the next step without being held back. Imagine that. A world where you can understand challenges, you can see them for what they are, and actively respond. Well, join me in this transformative journey where we're going to delve into this topic, hear some really powerful strategies to overcome fear and anxiety so you can move forward no matter what. We'll hear what some of the experts in this field have to say, and in such a way that we can implement this fast and start moving forward no matter how long it's been and no matter how you found yourself stuck. See, your path to freedom, empowerment, and inner peace is just one decision away. Are you ready to start the journey? Come along. Now, every successful journey begins with acknowledging where we are. It's like going on a Google map and putting where you want to go, but not acknowledging, not accepting where you currently are. We must acknowledge and accept and identify exactly where we are. And that's the same for anxiety. One of the first things we need to do is acknowledge what is happening. Even acknowledge that we have anxiety. You see, for a lot of people, there is avoidance, there is denial, and there is a lack of identification of what's actually going on. According to the Journal of Anxiety Disorders, just the act of acknowledging anxiety is a powerful tool to move forward. In fact, the study revealed that participants who practice mindfulness and other techniques to go within and identify what's happening were way more likely to not only overcome anxiety, but to take more action towards where they want to go. And according to Dr. James Gross, a renowned psychologist from Stanford University, understanding your emotions, including anxiety, is a first step towards managing them. So let me repeat that. Understanding your emotions, including anxiety, is akin to knowing your enemy before formulating a strategy. So, in summary, to surmount fear and anxiety, the first step is to acknowledge it, identify it, and accept that that is the case. Now, in order to identify the enemy or identify what's actually happening, it's best to find the root cause. Go deeper, find the root cause. Let's take an example here. Let's take Sarah as an example. See, Sarah found herself being anxious regularly. And Sarah was asked to document her feelings, her emotions on a regular basis, journal them. And in doing that, what Sarah found after a period of time was that whenever it came to Sunday nights, before the work week began, is when the anxiety began. You see, for Sarah, at her workplace, there were specific interactions with certain colleagues that was causing this anxiety. But she wouldn't have known that until she went through the point of documenting her feelings, her emotions, journaling them, so that she was able to identify the root cause. Dr. Susan David, a renowned psychologist from the Harvard Medical School, according to her, being able to identify and label our emotions is a foundational aspect. Being able to identify and label our emotions is a core concept for emotional agility. In fact, identifying the source of our anxiety, let me make this clear, it's not about assigning blame. This is not about assigning blame. It's not about saying, hey, it's because of this, because of that, because of everything else around me. This is about identification of what's going on. Let's get this clear, because this is very, very important. None of this is about blame. None of this is about saying all these things outside of me are causing me this, because that's just the same as giving our power away. This is about going within. This is about acknowledging. This is about identifying and acknowledging what is actually happening. You see, labeling and identifying our emotions, I go back to my earlier point, is the core foundational aspect of emotional agility according to Dr. Susan David. Now, that we know how important it is to identify the root cause, let's look at some strategies on what we do from here. You see, you can have the root cause, but what's very important once you know the root cause is to move forward and implement strategies so that this root cause can be resolved and we can overcome anxiety and fear. And one of the first things that's important is your environment. You see, the environment matters. The environment matters more than anything else in order for you to overcome what's happening and to create new paradigms. See, according to a study by the University of Minnesota, your environment has one of the highest impacts on your levels of stress. And when it comes to the environment, we're not just talking about the physical environment. We're talking about the people you spend time with. Of course, the physical environment, the mental environment, means what material are you exposed to, what information are you exposed to, what people you're exposed to, and of course, your physical environment, like is there order in your physical environment or is there disorder? Is it organized or is it disorganized? All of these things matter. So we've got to look at our environment. We've got to make sure that the environment supports us. The environment inspires us, not expires us. You see, for a lot of people, the environment is expiring them. I want you to have a think about this. What is in your environment that is inspiring you? Because if it's expiring you, in other words, if it's hurting you, this is only going to increase your stress and anxiety. So very important point. Have a look at your environment. Do you have clutter? Do you have chaos? Are the things in your environment reminding you of what's wrong, what's unorganized? So let me explain this with an example here. See, in some lands, in some countries, there seems to be a higher rate of depression, higher rates of anxiety. And when you think about the environment that most people live in, we're talking about environments where there is less sun, where the weather is not very conducive to activity and productivity, where there is limited capacity or limited intention as a result of the weather or the environment to want to go out and socialize. So some of the Nordic countries, you'll find that there is a lot less time during the day when the sun is out. And even when the sun is out, it's very cold for people to get out. Whereas if you look at places where the sun is, where there is high rates of sunshine through the year, you'll find that people have different emotional states, people think differently, behave differently, and that is a result of the environment. Now that's a very simple example. So I want you to think about, in your environment, are people motivated? Do people want to do more? Do they want to socialize? In your workplace, is there a culture of support? Is there a culture of encouragement? That is also the environment. So we got to look at it. We got to become very conscious of our environment. Now, having the right environment is a start. It's a great start. But we must apply more strategies, more practical strategies to bulletproof our situation. You see, having knowledge is like having a car without any fuel. Knowledge is great. Great point to start here now. I'm sure you'd agree. However, we must go further. We must go deeper. We must put this fence around us so that we remain protected, we remain strong, and that we are in a position to respond and not only react. So let's look at some of these strategies. First of all, setting boundaries. You see, people have an issue with, forget about setting boundaries, even enforcing boundaries. Everybody has their boundaries, and everybody must acknowledge that no matter who you are, there are boundaries that need to be respected. There are rules that need to be respected. So we must learn how to set boundaries and then enforce them. Yes, it can come with making some people, for example, not feel so good. However, you have a choice here. If we spend our life trying to please others, trying to only cater to others' needs, then our own boundaries can be breached. And when our own boundaries are breached, I can tell you, this will go to the core of the issues, it'll go back to the root cause and bring fire to the anxiety that we've had. Second, physical activity. You see, a lot of research suggests that mind affects the body. Yes, it does. But there is also a lot of research that suggests that your body, your physiology affects the mind. So they're both connected. What do you do with your body? What do you do with your time? You see, when a person is feeling sad, one of the worst things the person can do is go and lay down. Because the body is communicating there's something wrong, and it goes deeper and deeper and gets worse. So we must introduce and actively pursue physical activity. And it doesn't have to be going to the gym, it doesn't have to be climbing ropes, it doesn't have to be climbing mountains, but it must be something physical. Because physiology affects our internal states. It affects how we feel. Think about the last time you went for a walk or you went for a run or you were connected to nature, your hands were moving, your body was moving, you were walking or running. Think about how you felt afterwards. You see, our physical body is very important. It is the vessel in which we live. So physical activity, along with setting boundaries, enhances our abilities and gives us control back over our life, as opposed to being at the effect of everything and everyone outside of us. At any given time, you can use physical activity to change your state. When we talk about boundaries and physical activities, what's also important here is to get on the path of healing. You see, setting boundaries and conducting physical activity is very, very important. However, if we have some deep underlying issues from the past traumas, past anxieties, we must also remain on the path of healing. And see, healing is a very personal journey and something that I'm very passionate about. As someone who works very closely with people who have gone through many traumatic experiences, and let's be honest, many of us face adversities. Life brings many challenges to us through our childhoods, through other very significant emotional events in our life. So healing is a path that we must stay on. We must first decide what we need to heal or what we need to heal from. And then we must remain on that journey until we can be sure that an event or a situation or a person from the past is no longer controlling how we feel. As we embark on this path, we should remember that healing is a non-linear and a very personal process. A study published by the Journal of Clinical Psychology found that healing is a multifaceted process. And in order for long-term holistic results, a combination of approaches, including therapeutic, spiritual, and even hobbies, can have the most lasting impact. You see, when it comes to healing, it is a very personal process and one that can involve peaks and valleys. With patience, persistence, and ongoing application of strategies, a favorable and a powerful outcome is guaranteed. Let me know in the comments what you're currently suffering anxiety and fear about, and which one of these strategies you're going to start applying immediately so that you can start seeing incredible transformation results in your life.